Hello, I'm Dr. Jeff Kingsley, and this is another episode of Riding in Cars with Researchers. Today, we're going to talk about the long-range implications of research. The implications are further reaching than one would think, and I'll give you an example of that. So let's talk about hepatitis C. Hepatitis C used to be virtually incurable. Patients with hepatitis C would typically have hepatitis C for the rest of their lives. There was a therapy that was really rough to take. Pegylated, interferon, and ribavirin. It was an injectable, and these drugs were tough. Patients would take them for half a year, and they would get low white blood cell counts and be at risk of infection. They would get low platelet counts. They would get depression. They would get suicidality. Rough drugs to take. And at the end of taking, if you were strong enough to even go through the therapy for your hepatitis C, you would do that for half a year, and at the end of half a year's worth of doing that, there was about a 30% likelihood that it worked. About a 70% likelihood that after doing all of that, you still had hepatitis C, that the treatment failed. That was Hep C just a short while ago, far less than 10 years ago. Now, let's come to the present. So we did all of that research. There was a ton of research going on when we started having these breakthroughs in how to take care of hepatitis C. And so what do we have today? Today we have therapies that are super easy to take, fully oral therapies, no need for injections, and patients don't end up with low white blood cell counts and low platelet counts, and they don't become suicidal, and they don't get depressed, and at the end of just 12 weeks worth of therapy, instead of half a year, at the end of just 12 weeks worth of therapy, there's about a 94-95% chance of success of no Hep C. There's only about maybe a 5% chance that the therapy fails. Dramatic difference from where we were just a few years ago. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, because that was super fun. Doing that Hep C research, and this was just completely game-changing in therapy for hepatitis C and dramatically impactful on these patient lives. Now, ripple effect? Ripple effect. Some physicians at Toronto General Hospital just published research a few days ago. Hepatitis C patients aren't allowed to be organ donors. Why can't they be organ donors? Well, because hepatitis C was incurable, virtually incurable just a short while ago. And so hepatitis C patients couldn't be organ donors. Well, we have a drug abuse epidemic in the US. We have a lot of patients that die of their drug abuse. And today, their families can't donate their organs. They can't choose prior to death to donate their organs. But hepatitis C is no longer the disease that it once was because of the therapies that we created several years ago. So these physicians at Toronto General just did a research trial where they took patients in need of lung transplants, patients who were going to die of their lung disease, such as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, IPF, where the lung is filling with scar tissue. They took patients with life-threatening lung diseases, and they transplanted hepatitis C positive lungs. They took the lungs, they actually bathed the lungs in antiviral solutions, transplanted them into the patients within a few days of the transplant, put the patients on the new hepatitis C therapies, and now, lo and behold, we have all of these patients who have wonderful, youthful lungs that were transplanted into them, and they don't have hepatitis C. There's the ripple effect. Research that we did so many years ago, which was wonderful and game-changing for treatment of hepatitis C, now roll forward into the future, and an unintended next step. Now you've got the ability to increase the number of transplantable organs in the world as a ripple effect of the research that we did so many years ago. Something that I never saw coming. When we did that research, we were excited about one thing and one thing alone: the ability to cure hepatitis C. And now, that very same research is improving transplants in patients completely separate from hepatitis C, patients around the world. Unintended consequences. If you can't tell, I love research. I find it fascinating and it changes the world. Research is changing the world. I love it. This is your edition of Riding in Cars with Researchers. Get involved. Think about how fantastic research is. It's a great career and it's fantastic to participate in. Take care.